Casey here, back at it again with another one. Yep, we're making patches on this one, so stick around. And it's time to get back on the VIC100. In the last round, we turned around and got the wiper straightened away and we got the cab welded on. What I'm going to start doing on this one here now is start welding all the pieces in it. But I come out here the other night and I just start double checking all my measurements, making sure everything was square. And I got down underneath it and I clamped this to the rocker panels. And I measured up to the chassis rails just to see what it is. And for anybody who's interested, from the bottom of the frame rail to the bottom of the cab is 2 3/4 of an inch. Seems like a lot, but a few people have asked about this bottoming out and stuff like that. If you remove all the suspension out of this here, take the springs out of it and say it was air ride and just never done no modifications to the actual suspension, this here will only goes down to 2 inches. So I got 3/4 of an inch there if I was to put bags in it. That would actually be touching. I'm not concerned about it. I'm not putting no airbags or air ride and nothing. And this is always going to have stock suspension. So it's not going to bottom out in this section here. Now, say if I drove it over a curb or something, it probably would. I'm not concerned about it. I'm after the look more than anything else. I've had cars with scrub lines like this before. But back to the problem. When I started taking measurements, I was measuring across here. It was 2 3/4 of an inch. I come back here and measured it up. What ended up happening, I was 1/4 of an inch out over on this side here. If you remember, I talked about it, and I said this side here had to go down 1/4 of an inch. I don't know what I was thinking, because I had to put 1/4 of an inch back. I had to cut it off and raise it back up with a few shims here to get the measurement right on this side here, so that it's 2 3/4 of an inch from the frame rail down to my cross member here. And then I start coming over here and measuring stuff up, and this side here was shorter than the other side. And I was like, what was I thinking? Like, I don't know what I was doing. So I'm going to go ahead and get a little strip welded in there and get that all back to normal again. And then what I'm going to do is, because I work so much on the front of it, I'm going to start back here. I'm going to start piecing this together here, and then doing this section here, and closing this section here. I'm going to start from the back and work forward on this, because I just want it to be something different. And I think this one here, this here will be a lot of fun working on this stuff and this stuff here. I've been thinking about it and how I'm going to do it. So I'm going to go and get this here straightened away first. Not going to bother you with that. I'm just going to go weld it up, have it done. And then I'm going to get the hood out and start taking measurements. I want to see if I can get this piece, and 2 of these out of the hood. I'm hoping I can. So we'll get this welded up and get started measuring pieces. I think it's time I emptied that. I haven't done no scrap work, have I? It's all scraps, pieces of metal from making stuff. I think it's time I emptied that. It's a bit over full. So I got my blunder fixed. I got it all welded up again. I went and welded it inside and out. That one there needed a bit more strength. So I went ahead then and took the hood and start drawing everything out on the hood. Now, if you don't follow me, I like simple square panels to start with. It's always easier because you always got a corner to measure off. You can come up here and go over here to make your diagonals, instead of taking patterns and laying them out and laying them in place and trying to fit them and making templates. That's a no-no. Anyway, but I turn around and measure this all up, and I just got enough here. These are my 2 rear panels, and here's my 2 side panels, and I got enough there to get that out of the center of the hood there. So what I'm going to go ahead now and take the grinder, and I'm going to chop out these back sections first and have it so that I can actually start fitting them in place. And then I'm going to clean all this paint off the outside and leave whatever on the inside alone. Yeah, so I'll get these cut out and we'll start fitting them in place and trimming them. So I got the piece cut out. I'm not going to clean it up yet. I'm going to get it trimmed up to fit first, because that's less cleaned up I got to do. So right now I got to get this to fit in place on the back side of it so I can mark for this here. But I got this chassis rail in the way, and I'm not going to overthink it. I'm just going to come over here now, lay this where I think I want it to be on the bottom, like so. And I'll mark my angle, height here, which is there. I don't know if you can see me at that. I'll come up here then, I'll move this over to here. And I'll mark this right here. And I'll draw a line now from there and cut that corner off. So I got the corner cut off it, and it seems close enough for me to test fit that in place. I'm going to go in here on the back side now and see if I can go down from here. Push that down. Go down a good bit on this side here. I think I got to cut a bit more of that off on this side. We'll have it down. Marked it on the inside. Now to come out here, mark this along here. Get my shape, and I marked it on the inside here. It's a lot easier. I'll take that off now. See what we got here. I'll measure up here about 1 inch, and I'll come across here and cut this off here. On the back side, I'll do the same thing here, 1 inch, and I'll straighten up this edge here now because I got a line right here. I've after going back now, trimmed it a few times. I got where I'm happy with it there now, and it fits in there good. I'm going to go over and strip this off now, and then put some plug welds down along here and up along here, and that way I can actually put that panel in place, and that one's done. I went over on the passenger side and done a quick test fit with it backwards like this here, and it's the same, all the same. It's a bit shorter on this side here. So what I went and did is I got the second piece laid out up here, and I laid that on top of it, and I traced it out. So that way I can just trim all this off and have that done, and then all I got to do is I trim this off back here a little bit more than what needs to be, because this side here, for some reason, the transmission tunnel is off center a small bit. So that's the way that'll have to be. So I got that ready. I'll go get this one cleaned up and get this one ready to install. So here's where I'm to. I got both of them made up, I got them cleaned up, and I got holes punched in them. I hear thinking about them as I'm making them up. The problem I'm going to have is when I install one side, I'm not going to be able to. I can get a set of C-clamps in through here and a set of C-clamps in through here to clamp it in place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clamp it in place and put a couple of clecos in it on the top side here and a couple of clecos on the top side of this one here. So that way I can take it out. When I weld it in place, the top can be held in place. The bottom is not an issue because you're pushing against it. But up here on the top side, I'm going to be welding it from the outside. But I need something to hold it in place so I can push against it. And I got to pinch the two pieces of metal together, but I got no way of clamping it once I weld one side in. I can clamp it in through the side here on the front, this section right here. I could probably come in through here with a C-clamp and clamp it on here. But the problem I got is that when I get this side welded in, I can't weld that one in because I got no way to clamp it. So I'm going to go in, put this side in, clamp it, put a few clecos in it along there, and then take that off, and then go in through this side here and put a few clecos in through here. You can use screws if you got screws. I'm going to use my clecos because I got them. And clamp that in place so that when I go to put the panel in place, I can hold it in place with clecos and weld it on. Same we can do with that side. So I'm going to go ahead now and get this all set up and weld it in. This is all I did. I laid it in place and slipped it down in there. Put the C-clamp on it, had it on over here, and then I just start drilling. I've got the clecos put in from this side because the panel wants to lean back, and I pushed against it this way here. But I got to weld it from this side here. Now that I have the clecos in place, I can just go in here now and just weld these up as I'm going along. Weld them up along here. I can push in on the bottom one here and weld all that up along there. And that panel's ready to go in. Now what I'll do first is I'll go over now and I'll set the other one up and put clecos in it as well before I weld this one in and have both of them done, so that way when I take the clamps off them, I can put the clecos in it here, and then I haven't got to worry about working on that side as well. And this is the other side done. clamped it in place. Also back here, what I did is I'm going to do the other side first, but I marked it in the middle here because I know both panels are going to overlap. And I'm going to cut this panel off on the black marker, and when I put the other one in place, I'll mark it and cut it off there, so two of them will actually come close to button up against each other on that back panel. And I should be fine. But the rest of it, it's just a matter now of plug welding, a whole bunch of plug welds. So I'll go ahead now and get the other panel put in place and marked and cut here in the middle, and then I can start placing that one in there and get it welded in. While it's on my mind, a lot of people don't realize it. People think that when you take sheet metal and you put a whole bunch of welding on it, it makes it strong. The strength don't come from the weld. The strength comes from the design of the metal. You take a flat piece of steel that's very flimsy and put a 90-degree bend on it, gives it strength. It's twice as strong as what it was prior to that. So when you put a flange on something like this here, you're giving strength to the back of the cab. And instead of just going down and run a bunch of welding along the back side of it, it looks dirty, it's long, it takes up a lot of time. When they built cars, they figured this out years ago. If you notice how panels are put together on car, they overlap, they weld, there's 90 degrees on them, there's like 45s, and the panels overlap and they're plug welded together. That's where the strength comes from. It doesn't come from a big load of welds. So I got the other panel in place, and there's the marker I put on the other one, so I marked that down through there. I'll cut this one off here now, so two of the panels should butt up nice, and then I can go ahead and get this one welded in. So I got it placed there now. The trick I'm going to do up here now is, you've got these spots, you've got to plug weld them up. Don't go in and start welding the entire spot up, and then moving along like that. Tack weld them all on first, because when you start banging heat into these here, this is going to want to move, and what's going to end up happening is this is going to pull away from it, and then you got to deal with that, the metal itself, gaps and stuff like that. So a little tack here, a little tack here, a little tack here, just to hold it all in place. Then you can go back and start welding it all up solid. I was in my own way there that time, but you can see what I got done there. I just went along, tack welded in place. So now I can go back and I can dolly this up a small bit here now and weld all these up solid. These down here won't be a problem because I can push against this here all the way along. So I'm going to go ahead now, get that panel welded in. I got it all welded in. The mistake that I made is that I went ahead and I welded all across here and then come down here and welded all across there. I should have let it cool off some. I do have a bit of warpage in it. I'm not worried about it behind the cab. I'll watch it on the other side over there. It's good enough for me. I'm going to grind and finish this off first before it goes any further and have this side done, and then I'll go over and get the other side welded in. And that's the other side done. I got a bit of warpage in that one as well. I think if I had to have my time back, because there's only 20 gauge metal I'm putting in here, if I had to take a bead roll and run a bead up along here and run a bead just along the edge of it here, it would have saved it. I'm not worried about it. It's behind the cab here. It looks spawn as kind. It looks the part there, though. Nothing wrong with that. But I got that done there now. I'm in the process now getting started on the other side right here. I'm all cutting out the piece of metal, and I got to start cleaning up the section here, all on the other side of course, and get the piece of metal ready to bend up. So I got the piece of metal cut out, and all I got done here so far is I got 3 inches of it here grinded back enough, because I got to put a couple of bends in the top side of this here. I'm not going to worry about the bottom right now. It's a big mess it makes all over the bench and all over the floor here. It's always a mess, so I'm just going to clean up what I need for now so I can get the bend done. It's going to be a bit tricky on the bend on this. Now a lot of people cut off this lip here and they weld flat in. I'm leaving this here because I want somewhere for the wiring to run. This is how they run a lot of wiring in cars. If you got to run front to back or whatever, it'll run along the edge of this here. And I got a molding here that'll go over the top of this after the fact. Also, the floor mat or the carpet, it's not carpet, it's the vinyl floor in this. That only comes to here as far as it comes, so it don't come out past this here. So I'm going to make a 90 degree coming off of this here, come out, and then I'm going to go down to this lip here. So when you look in here, you can see I got to come down, out, and then down this way here. The problem I got is roughly 1 inch there, and there's about 1.5 inches there. So I got to measure this distance from here to here and mark it out so I got the same amount on either end. This first flange is going to be about 3/4 of an inch. I'll bend that up on a full 90. And then I got to take this measurement here and put 1.75 or 1.5 inches or whatever on this end, and 1 inch on this side here. If I moves the bend too far up, this is going to be too wide here. If I moves it too far up here, it's going to be too wide here. Because this is going to be, this panel here over exaggerating is going to be going like that as it goes back. I'll go over now, get the piece of metal, get this bent up here, and start figuring out this distance here from this side to this side and where to put the marks to get the second bend. I got a piece of 3/4 inch steel here that I'm using for my measurement. Keep both of them the same. That's my first bend. So I got my first bend here now. What I got to do now is go over, measure that distance from here to here on the lip. I'm going to flip it over because this is the way I'm going to have to bend it. And find out my overall length of my piece of steel here now. And then find out how far in I got to come on each side to measure in 1 inch here and 1.5 inches here. So I measured over, I got roughly the distance from here to here is the same as on the doorpost. And this is the overhang on either side. Then this is the 1.5 inches on the back, and that's the 1 inch on the front. So I'm going to bend them there. That'll bring me, but I had to make sure that this is the way this is going to fit. This is the front. So I'll go over now, set this up in the brake, and break this here. Go over and see what that fits like now. So I got it there, first try, fits pretty good. Pull back on it here, pull it back tight to that there. And it goes in past there, and I'll run off the piece in there, going off there. Same with back here. I don't like the way the back is here. It should be, it's not quite on a 90-degree angle going straight back. I like to have this coming out here more, straighter. So I'll take it off now, dolly it up, try to get this here nice and straight here. Then I think I'm going to clean the face of this off because I got to mark it down around here. The trick with this, I want to plug weld it in through here. Most fellas just welds it on along there. I don't want to know about that. I want to plug welded along here, but I got a bit of a raised lip here, so I got to figure out some idea now of stepping this in so I can actually get to this point here. Yeah, figure something out. Forgot to show you the inside of the back. You see down, I got a nice flange down and around the bottom corner. Seam seal this along here, seam seal this up along here. Perfect. That's brand new, that is. So I got it clamped in place, and then I put a couple of clecos in it, got 3 put in it, Then I took another pair of vice grips and I just drew it out tight enough so it brought up in this. Now this here has a bit of a step on it, so it's going to be kind of hard to go in. Right now behind this here, there's probably about 1/4 of an inch, maybe 1/8 of an inch distance between this and this panel. So I need to step this section out. I went and marked it with a marker there now. So I got it marked, and knows what from there out got to be stepped out all along here. The easiest thing for me to do is break out the bead roller and run a bead along there, a step bead. But I'm trying to find a simpler way to do this. Well, more or less, I've been trying to do most of this truck with basic tools. That's the whole key with this one. The bead roller is an easy fix, but I'm going to try to do a hammer forming setup in the vise and see if it'll work. Yeah, that's what I'll do. So I got the panel taken out. This is the mark that I have on this here. What I want to do is I want to step this out on this side of the line. I want to step it up and step it out so this here will reach the actual panel itself. So the more I think about it, I'm looking at this here. This goes up and it passes right off the straight edge corner here and over along this way here. I just got this corner over here is going to be a bit of trouble. I have an idea here, a very simple way I'm going to put a step on this here is I'm just going to put it in the brake and I'm going to bend it up. And I'm just going to bend it up and then flatten it out again. And what I was going to do is going to step this out this way here. And I'll overlap it here. I'm not worried about overlapping bends because I'll dolly this corner separately. So I'm just going to show you how I'm going to go about this now. I got to get this side to come up a small bit so I can clamp it. Now all this here got to be trimmed off, but I got to get it up first. I'm leaving all this material here now so I can actually work it all. I'm trying not to get into pounding on this piece of metal here before it goes anything. Because I'm trying to get this strength into it right here. Now I don't need to have it right on the line, I gotta have it a little bit below it. So I gotta make sure it has it a little bit lower than what it should be. I thought about this, and I said to myself, wait a sec, I might be able to pull this off. I've done this before with panels. That should be fine like that. I'll push that in pretty well tight to that. And now I got a little step there. And then I can clamp on here and weld it on. What I'll do is I'll do the same thing over here now. I'm not going to be worried about it. Go crossing over bends. I can dolly it after the fact. Sometimes you got a tendency to overthink stuff. And when you think about it a bit, you say, wait a sec. There we got my little step there coming down, going across here. I'm going to cut most of this off it anyway. Now if I can find a way to do this one, the problem with this, I got this section here, which I got the piece of metal up here. I must leave that there. I might just hand form this here. Let's see what I can come up with. Now I've done this technique before too. All I'm doing, I got it clamped in the vise and I got that black line left there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hammer the black line this way here, which will bring this panel this way here. I've done this before on my channel. As you can see, I have a step in this now all the way around. I just hammer formed it up here. Don't have to be perfect. I just don't want to have too much damage up on this section here. Came out pretty good. And I rolled it around here. Just don't have to be perfect because this is all going to be hid anyway. As long as I'm below that black line, it should fit in there nice. So I'll go over now and test fit this, see what it looks like. And there it is. I got a clamp tight there, and I got a clamp tight there, and it's got a nice fit there now. I can actually come in here now. What I'll do is I'll drill holes in this here now and have it so I can plug weld it from here onto this panel here. I marked it up here, and I marked it here for the height of it. I'll go in over now and I'll put holes in this here for plug welds, and I'll put plug welds down over here. I'll trim off that panel inside just so there's probably about 3/4 of an inch left on the actual this panel here below this line, and I'll be ready to install that. So I went ahead and I come back about 3/4 of an inch or so and trimmed it off on the lower side. I dollied up these sections where the overlap was to, back here, and then just turned around and dollied it all up. I went up here then and I punched a bunch of holes in it on the top side here. Came over here and then drilled out a whole bunch of spot welds along here, going up along there. Now I can clamp this all together and weld it together. Now if you want to, you can get in there and start painting all this stuff and put your weld through primers and everything on the back, everything. I'm not bothering with this truck because of the condition this truck is really in. I'm trying to build a fast build here, and all this stuff takes up time. So I'm not concerned about it on this truck. I'm going to, later on, I'll undercoat all the bottom side of this here and seam seal all this and paint all this up top. So I just want to get through this. I'm trying to do as much as I can here with this here as I can. So I'll get that piece laid in place, clamped back in again, and get this all welded in. And this is what it all looks like. Got it all clamped in place. I'm going to go ahead now. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to weld across the top first. And then I'm trying to see, because this is only thin metal, I'm going to start here in the middle and start working my way out. See if I can get all the heat transfer to move out to the outside. But I'm only going to weld the top first. I'm not going to work my way around and weld it, like tack weld it all in place first. I want the metal to be able to go where it wants to go when the heat gets into it until it gets down here. I had a lot of troubles back here on the back side. This is good enough. It's behind the cab, but I'm trying to experiment with it now to see if I can try to control the heat and try to make this panel look nice inside the door. If it don't, well, that's it. I'm just trying to, by rights, I should just take my time and just, you know, plug weld it, cool it off, plug weld it, cool it off. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. But anyway, I'll just get this welded in. There it is, all welded in. That worked out really nice. That there feels really good across there. It doesn't need nothing. Coat of paint on that, that'll be brand new. But I went and welded across the top here. And when I got that welded, I come down here and start in the middle, and I just start working my way out from there, welding them on. And using the vice grips to clamp them in place. But I'm very pleased with how that came out. You might have noticed I changed my gloves. I went and burnt my hand last night on the old gloves. They had a hole in the finger. So I turned around and got a new pair of gloves today and burned a hole in them. Where's he to? Right there. Burnt a hole between the side of the glove. Never did it once, but did it twice. They weren't welding gloves, so then I had to go get a third pair of gloves. I got my poor old hands destroyed here. I don't like wearing big, I like TIG gloves. I don't like wearing the big heavy gloves. I usually get these farmer's gloves, and they last a long time. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead now, get this all grinded up, and move on to the next piece. And there you have it. All grinded up and dressed. All I did is I grinded up with a 24 grinding disc, knocked the head off it with that, the actual spot welds. Then I dressed it up with a 24 grinding disc. That's all I did there. Nice and tidy, nice and clean. All you gotta do now is just do a little bit of seam sealer along here, and that's watertight. So a lot of fellas would weld it on solid along here. There's a lot of welding involved in it. And a lot of fellas will go over the top here and remove this lip, but I find that I'm using the Crown Vic vinyl flooring, and I want it for the wiring. Now that I got that done, I'm going to finish off this corner over here. I got a hole there I want to weld up, and that's just going to be a simple straight piece. I'm just going to weld it on there and then weld it on the outside and trim it off, because I got this set up here. This is a little bit lower here, so if I put a flat piece inside here and tack welded it on, I should be able to weld it all on the outside, then I can just cut it off on the inside here. Down here in this corner, I'm going to make a little U-shaped piece. It's going to spot weld on along here, and I'm going to drill in through here and spot weld in here, and I'm going to spot weld on the actual back of the cab there. I'm not sure if I'm going to tip it down there to do that or tip it up. One or the other. I'll probably tip it up and then just drill a hole through the back of the cab and weld it in through this side here. It'll be a lot easier to do. So that's just the simple little pieces I'm going to make up there now. I'll go ahead and get them made up and get them installed. Nothing fancy there, just quick and dirty. Just cut off something that fit in there and laid it over it. Tack welded on the four corners. I'll come out here now, weld that all the way around there, and I'll go in and trim off whatever's hanging off inside. Nothing fancy there. Just a quick, dirty old patch. Out here, same thing. It's far from perfect, but it's perfect for me. This next one here, I measured it up, 7.5 inches from there to here. Oh, I'm going to have to add a 1/2 inch for the tab for the back, or 3/4 of an inch. Okay, add more to that. And I worked it out to be about 3 inches for the two uplips and the bottom section. So this is the piece that I drew out, but I gotta make it that much longer because I need a tab for the back. So I'll get that cut out now and get that all cleaned up. Sometimes mistakes are made, but I'm gonna go ahead and make this piece. A lot of times when I'm making small sections where I gotta have an inside edge like this here, I'll leave this lip long. That way it'll fit in the vise or in the actual brake, and I can actually clamp it down. But I made a mistake of not making this wide enough, so I'm using a simple piece of angle iron now, clamp to the vise or clamp to the bench. I'm going to tap that up to get my piece. There's nothing fancy about that little doodad there. The trick with this is when I put that in place, it's only going to go in once. I've been test fitting it, but it's very tight. And I'd say I'm going to hammer that in place, and when I get it in place, I'm not going to be able to get it out of there. So I got it set up that when I put it in there, it's staying in there. So let's hopefully I get this in there half sensible. Yeah, there's nothing fancy about that. But I got her all tied into the back of the cab here, and onto the side of the cab here, and onto the rocker piece I put on her, and on the inner lip here is welded along there. I plug welded along here, I plug welded along here, and up here in this corner I had a big piece missing, so I had to weld a piece in there and grind it up. I'm not too much worried about that seam sealer, cover all that. So I got this side done. Now I'm going to go over and do the other side. So over here, it's more of the same. But what I'm going to do in this one here, I'm not going to go through all this again. I'm going to just dig right into this now, and I'm going to time myself and see how long it takes me to close in this section here and that section there. And that's, of course, making up all the panels and everything. Right now, it is 20 after 3 here in the afternoon, and I'm going to start in on this one here now and see how long it takes me. just a little under 2 hours. I think it's an hour and 50 minutes. I hadn't stopped. That included welding time and grinding and dressing time. That wasn't just weld the panels in there. I had to make up all the panels, made them up the exact same way I made the other side. This one here, I was smart on this one here. I told you how I should have bent it. I did that one. That was a joke to make. So I got that closed in. So, yeah. That's about how long. A lot of people have asked me how long it take me to do this job, how long it take me to do this job. And this here, starting with nothing, having to fabricate the piece, fit the piece, weld the piece in there, grind and dress the piece in there, and then make up that piece back there, weld it in there, fit it in there. Took me an hour and 50 minutes. But yeah. So that's the back half of the cab completed all the way around. I'm from the door post here back. The cab is mounted to the floor. All that's done. All's left now is to clean everything up, run some seam sealer, coat of paint on everything. Perfect. That'll be done. I'm sizing up. I'm going to have to close off something down here when it gets into it. I got to figure out some way of closing off the bottom side of the cab from the inside. So I've probably got to cap the inside somehow. I got to size that up because you'll get fumes up inside the cab through there. So I got to work on that. I'm sizing up the seat belts over here. I think I'm just going to mount them here and then just put one bolt up here in the top corner. Put a plating system that I can slide it behind it and put in with plug wells that you can just screw a nut into. That's what I have in my head to do, because to fool around with that slippy foolishness is like, I don't know. But I'm getting ahead of myself here now. I'm here working on different stuff, sizing up what I'm going to do next, right? So I got the two sides done, the back corners, the back section along here, and the other side done. Next I got to get into now is closing off this section up in here, getting all this straightened away, and up along the front side up here, get all that done. First thing I'm going to do now is haul the dash out. Okay, I got the dash out. So what I got to close in here now, I got to figure out a couple of things. So I got to close off this gap here. You can look in through there and you can see, look right out on the floor there. I was down underneath looking at that down there. The easiest way for me to repair that will be from down on the bottom side. So I'm just going to put a little L bracket down there and tack weld it on. I'm not going to worry about sealing it up because if any moisture gets in there, I just soon let it run out. But I want to keep all the dirt and debris and everything from getting in there. So I just want to put a little cover over that going out to the outer edge out to here. Right to here. You look in through there. And just cap that off along there, right along that bottom lip. Right along here, in through. And that'll solve that problem. What I'm going to do in here is this section here. I'm just going to build a little L-shape type unit. It'll plug weld on here and it'll plug weld on here. Just a simple little shape going up to here. Up here, I've been sizing up what I'm going to do because I don't like where this sticks off like this here. But I've been sizing it up on it's only the corner of the dash that's right here. So I'm going to cut this clean right off here. And then I'm going to close up this gap here and weld it to this post here. So that way when the dash lays in here, it's just going to lay flat to this here. And you'll see the actual lip from the edge of the dash. This section right here, you'll see this right here. This is what you'll see because that cover goes right along this section here and it covers that up. But I just assume have a little bit showing instead of having that big old triangle piece sticking out like that. So I'll trim that off there and then I'll cap the end of that. A lot of it's going to be hard to do and show you exactly what I'm at. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and start patching stuff up and then I'll just bring you back and show you what I got done. Well, look at what I got done up here. I'm in there sizing up everything I'm doing, and I've talked about it before, about 1/4 of an inch, less than 1/4 of an inch. You can always manipulate the roll and edge on it. I don't like butt welding metal together. I like having a bit of an inside edge, something I can weld to. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to tack weld this on down through here, like so, on the actual truck body, and then I'm going to trim this up along here, fold this over, and tack weld it on down along the actual the Crown Vic section. This here, little piece I got here, this goes on the very bottom where the rocker's to, and this will meet to this. So basically, this is the way this is going to work, like that. And then this is going to go up the post. I'll go over and get that installed. It's a lot easier for me to just go install it, but I wanted to show you. I got to put this piece in first. That's going to get welded on through there, and and a tack inside there. Like, you know, I don't know what is with me with having edges and corners. And I hate welding this stuff out here. Like sticking a flat piece down and trying to weld this up. I just soon weld it where I'm not going to see the welds, and I can just leave them alone. And then this here is just going to look like that when it's finished, right? But this will be welded on the inside here. You're never going to see it. Just look at how nice that looks in there. That welded on the back side, tack weld over here, and I weld straight down. You're never going to see it, Tony. Here's some fussy. Oh my. As you can see, that's how I got tacked on. And I got a lip left there now. All the way down. I took the cutting wheel and I cut up along there and I removed it. So on the back side now, there's a bit of an overhang. What I'll do now is I'll start hammer forming that all down around there, folding over, and tacking it on like I did this side here. Done. Down here, my lovely piece of metal has disappeared because it's all covered over. Can't see nothing here with the light, but you get an idea what I got done there. As you can see, I just hammer formed it over the lip, and you come up here. You can see I haven't got it done on the top yet. I'll continue on now, and I can weld that. You can always shake metal when it's in place like that, and I'll just tack weld it on there. I'll clean that up. That'd be best kind for that. Bit of seam sealer on that. Smoosh, smoosh, fixed. Think I got a little bit carried away with it there, but I got it closed in. Watch, I don't get my own light there. What I did up here on the top side of it is I had a piece of 14 gauge and I come to about down to about here somewhere with it, and I just used a big heavy plate piece because this is pretty heavy up here, and I welded it to the actual post itself, and I solid welded it down here, and then I actually just shaped this with the grinder. So like that's not the actual original lip, this was all welding down through there. Yeah, and I got it all closed in, so just a matter of seam sealing that now, and that side's done. But yeah, hopefully that'll look pretty good. You're going to see the lip, it'll dash right here, but I don't think it'll be as bad as what I got going on here. So we'll see when I puts it in there. But next step now is I'm going to go over and repeat all the same thing on the other side. I'd say that's going to be tomorrow evening. I'm busy here and other stuff in the daytime, and I'm here working on this in the evenings for now, for a bit till I get some hours in on customer stuff. Anyway, till tomorrow evening. So we're over on this side now, so I went ahead and did it anyway. Got it all done. It's the same process as the other side. It's just a little small blocks down there, welded it in, and I just put a 90 on it, bent it, and then cut it off, rolled it over, welded on, came up here, put a second piece in here, cut a piece of 14 gauge and put down through here, then grind it all down, pressed it. So it all looks good there now. So this side is done. We're getting close now to closing this off inside the cab. All we got left now is to cap these and along the base of the windshield. Now, down here, I had some issues that I was thinking about. If you look downside there, right in that corner there, there's the outside pocket. But there's a gap here, so any runoff is going to come across here, is going to come there. Now, this is on a higher section, so it's kind of hard for water to go that way. And then I went and took a pry bar and pried it open. I was going to put a piece of steel in here and try to seal it off, but I looks at it and I says, Tony, whatever you does in there, if it's going to leak, it's going to leak. And what I got in my head is I got that bent back out of the way there now. All that's done. I'm not too concerned if it has a small leak in it, because this will leak down into here and it'll go down to the bottom of the thing here. It'll leak on the floor down here. So quite possibly I'll know where it's coming from. But if it do give me a headache right here, I can go in through here and fill all this up with foam if I want to stop it. Because this here actually opens up out, and you can see there's the truck cab there, and there's the Crown Vic here. There's a gap right here. If you look down through there, see if I can get you in there. Where's it at? Can't see it. Here you go. See the gap right there? And that's the actual piece that I welded in. And there's the plug, the rubber plug off the cab. And there's a gap there. So any water is going to run. It's just going to run down the side of it there. I should be okay. I'm not too concerned about it. You can pretty well get carried away with it here. Like I think if I made a piece to go down in here and have trouble welding it, then I'm going to have to try to seal it all up. And the chances of it stopping anything is slim and none. So I think I'm just going to be content with that and leave that like it is. I opened it up. I'll do the same on the other side and just pry it open. And if I run into any problems, I'll come in through here and I'll actually just blow foam into this section here and fill all that up with foam. And that'll just stop any leaks from coming in. But I'm not going to worry about it right now. What I'm going to do next now is cap the tops of these here, these corners. Right here, I want to cap these off. I got to trim them up a bit. I got to make up a little piece in here. I want to keep a seam in here. So I'm going to do a 90-degree bend in here, tack weld it on the bottom and have it come over a small bit. So that way when you look in here, you see the seam right here. That'll just continue right on up to here. And then this will be capped right along here. It'll be capped right on in out to the windshield frame out to here. So I'm going to cap them first and cap both sides. And then I'm going to work on doing the front. It's kind of hard to film all this, but these are the pieces that I made up. This is the pieces going to weld onto the truck cab. And it's going to give me that seam back. This piece is going to weld to that there, along that edge there like that. That'll be the top cap. This is a filler piece that I got to put on the side over here to fill in a gap that's over there. And then this section here goes right up underneath the dash in the truck itself. And then I got to trim this off back here and weld this onto the top plate. So what I'll do is I'll start welding each individual piece in. And when I weld it in, I'll show you it. There it is, all finished up. You could have got fancy. I don't know if I'm going to have to put a cover or anything on that right now, but I'm not too concerned about it. But you can see now, I got it all done in such a way that there's still a little seam going down through here. If you look down this way here, there's a seam still here. So that was joined into that there. And she's welded to the base of the windshield up here. Welded up there. So all that's done. Now I can go ahead now I can start joining that in, but I think I'm going to go over and finish the other side off first, or maybe I'm just going to start going across. I'll start going across for a change up. I'll start making pieces up, go across here. I'm not going to fool around trying to make this in one piece. I might make it 3. Yeah, I think I'm going to try it in 3. So I'm here now, I got the old door skin out. I went over and I measured it up. It's about 58 inches, the entire front section. I don't want to have this, I don't want to work too hard trying to make one big long piece. It's just a nightmare. It's going to have to be filled anyway. So I'm going to make it in 3 sections. It's a lot easier to control. And all I'm starting off with again is a square piece of metal. I went over and I laid a piece of metal across it, measured over 20 in, I measured out. See how much the farthest distance away was to where it needed to be in the middle. And I think I got it here now. So I'm going to take this over there now, just fit it in the corner, and just start trimming it up so it tucks in underneath the windshield frame. Now you've seen me do this type of work before. I got roughly 1 inch there. So over here, I got to take off 1 inch. So I'm going to come over here and just draw it back a line, like so. Do the same thing over there, trim that off, and test fit it again. So after trimming it a couple of times, and now that it fits in underneath there, that's the first half of it done. There you go. That's the first part of it done. I'm going to clean this off here now, and I got to start trimming this back here. I'm going to do this the same process that I did down the lower side down there. I don't want to go do no welding here because this here is the edge that you're going to see. So I'm going to bend it down over here and weld it along here. The dash comes to here, so you're not going to see what's down here. But I like to have a nice dressed edge going along here that I can actually, the dash will fit nice to. So that's my plan with that. I'm going to do the same type process as what I did down here with the rolled edges. Do the same thing. I'm not going to worry about trying to roll this over and have it perfect. I'm just going to hammer form it when it's well in place. So I'll get that cleaned up there now. Now where this is 20 gauge metal and I'm tucking it up underneath the actual dash itself, it's pretty flimsy. So what I'm doing, I'm putting a little lip that's going to be tucked up underneath it to give strength to the actual panel. So I'm taking a 20 gauge metal here now and making it stronger by just putting a lip on it. Now you won't see this. This will be tucked up underneath the dash. I'll show you. But this will give strength to it. Instead of it being flimsy like this, it'll have strength like this then. So here's what I got made up. You see the little lip on the inside of it. It gives strength to the panel. The panel's stronger. It's only 20 gauge metal. The reason why I'm doing that is that I can slide that in here now. Slide that in there. And I can pull down and push down that there now to hold it up in place, see? Give it lots of strength. Now, this here, I'm not going to trim this off yet. I'll trim this up. I had to tidy up this corner here because I knew it would have given me trouble later, so I just cut the corner, got it started. I'll cut the rest of this later because I want to use it for leverage to actually get this here welded in here first. So I'll go ahead and I can weld that in there now, solid, and then I'll work on trimming this off out here and then tapping this down, taking my time, see if I can get a nice edge all the way along there. So I got it all welded in place there now. I took my time. I tack welded it every inch. Then I welded an inch, or every half inch, so it is. I welded a half inch, skipped 2 or 3 inches and went on that way. And then I kept cooling it down after I got over to this side here. Then I come over here and done the same thing again, cool it down. Now before I grinds all that up, I want to roll this edge and everything, and I got it marked out here where I'm going to cut it off. I didn't like my first line because I think I might be too short there, so I'll cut it off here. Then I can start shaping this along here to get this. I don't want to go grind this up because I might end up making this weak, and when I'm hammers on this here, there's a lot of crack in here, so as long as all the welds are there, they're fine. So once this is all shaped in place, this here, if it wants to come up or whatever, it'll be fine, but the strength is there first, so I can get all this hammered down. So I got it trimmed off, and you're looking underneath there, probably about 1/4 of an inch or more left underneath there. See the distance over there? I'm going to start over here now, start hammering this down. I work my way across there, taking my time, hammer it down as I'm going along there. See if I can do a bit of it here. So I got on a good way. There's a bit of a spring to it now, so I got to start working it from one side now, going across. But you can see the nice little edge there going along there. I'll work on that there now and get that there. Nice rolled edge on that. All I'm doing here is I'm working my way across, and I get to here. I'll hammer it down and I'll weld it. I'll move over here. Once that's welded, I'll come over here and I'll hammer about another 1.5 inches or so, and I'll weld it about 1 inch after. I'll work on that way. Like, I don't try to get it all at once. I start over here. I hammer this a little bit, weld it, hammer this a little bit, weld it, hammer this a little bit, weld it. That's all I've been doing to shape that all across there. All I got to do is seam seal this in here now. A little bit of filler up here, and I got a nice little roll edge along the edge of it there. Got it all tack welded across there now, and that's all solid welded. Some are going to say, well, Tony, why don't you just solid weld across there? Why? It's a beater. That there got to be seam sealed. I got it solid welded. If I got to fill something, I'll solid weld it. But if I'm only going to seam seal it, I don't mind every 1/2 inch or so tacks. To me, it's just time consuming. I go ahead there and I can go ahead, yes, and weld all that up solid, fine. But the strength is there now. The rest of what you're doing is just OCD, showing that that piece of metal's not welded there, that little tiny piece of metal's not welded there. That's all that is. So I'll go get that grind up now. And there it is, all grinded up and finished up. Looks the part. Nice smooth finish on it. Got a nice roll edge all the way along there now. The dash will come into here. There's a plastic piece goes over top of it, so it'll be a nice transition. There's a small little bit of a crown on that where I tap this down. This sort of crowned up so it doesn't look flat. So it's got nice, it's nice that way. Along here now, just a little skim of filler on there. I say a lot of it you only notice when you get the window rubber on it, but I'm gonna put a little skim across there, and that'll be brand new. So that one's done. I can start working on to the next one and get the next one done. Here now, sizing everything up. I was going to move on and do that one in the middle, but then the more I thought about it, I'll keep the symmetrics going. I'm going to come over here now, make this piece here, and get this piece here done, and then we'll start on the one in the middle. And I got that one all capped in. It was much the same, exact same way as I'd done the other side. There was nothing different there. I had to put a piece in down here. I had to put a piece in over here that I bent on a 19, spot welded on along here, made a cap over the top of it. Grinded it all off. Now I'm in the process now making up this piece here. I'm trying to get through this here this evening. This is the last of it here now. Closing this off, and then all the inside will be done. Be all closed off. So I want to get this finished tonight. So I'm going to go ahead. I'll take you along on the next one. But this one here, I'm going to go ahead now and get this one made and get it installed. It's the same as the other side. Same process. And there you have it. The first section of that in there. I had to go around where the actual serial number was on the car. I don't know what I'm going to do there yet. One of the biggest questions you guys are asking me about this here, am I going to register it as a F100 or as a Crown Vic? Now answer me this, if you saw a pickup truck driving down the road and got hauled over by the police, and the police officer is walking up behind that pickup truck, and he sees a registration that says 2011 Crown Vic, you think that's going to be questionable? Like, I'm using all the running gear out of this and some sheet metal, but the truck itself will be registered as a 1967 F100. It just says got all modern running gear in it, and that's the way it is. So when you physically see the truck, you'll see a 1967 F100. You won't see a 2011 Crown Vic. So I just want to clear that up. I might get a tag or something to put there. I don't know, because there's a cut out of the dash there. You can buy serial number tags, and I can probably put the serial number, because the serial number on this truck is on the door. The tag is there, so I do have the proper tag. They don't come in the dash in the early Fords. But this is going to be here, so I just got to figure out something to put there. Maybe I'll put a little tag there for these Fabrications or something on it in a year or something like that. I don't know. But it's going to be an empty spot in the corner of the dash, but that's it. So now that I got this all done, so now we have one more piece left to do. That's here in the center. So I'm going to haul out, take a measurement of that there now, get a piece of steel, cut it out, and do all the trimming and bending and all that got to be done, and weld that in place there. I'm going to take you guys along. now, I think the hardest part about that was trying to keep everything from catching the light. I had this box here, the little foam on that caught a light twice. Then I had sparks falling down inside there. Should have all that covered, shouldn't I? And look, I even got this thing here, that's still there. They burns like anything. I'm gonna let it hang out here for a while now, make sure everything's all right. But I got it welded in. All I did is I overlapped it here and overlapped it down there. I trimmed the corners of it right here to actually get it to fit nicer. I'm not too concerned about, you know, perfection on this thing, because I can sit down and get carried away with everything I'm doing with this truck. I have on certain things, but the more I think about it, if I intend to drive this the year, the one thing I'm going to have to cut corners on is perfection, because perfection takes time, and time is something that I'm really not wanting to spend too much of it on this truck. I got to spend a lot of it on it, but I can get carried away. Every now and again I falls off the bandwagon of a patch job and gets right into the fancy stuff, and then I realize it's Tony, back the bus up, get going the other way. So yeah, I'm gonna grind that all up there now and fit this dash back in. Well now, did that ever put up a fight? After having this dash in 3 or 4 times now, I'm only holding in with 2 screws on the top side, and it's got a couple of studs that I just got to fall over, so it's just easy to take in and out. But to get it up in place, no, there's a clip there and there's a clip there. That clip fell out. I couldn't find it. It was over here. So I picked that clip up, put it over here, come over here, start putting the dash in it, and had troubles putting it in her. Next thing you know, this clip went disappeared. I had to go find one over on the bench. What a time. But so then I went out in the trailer and I got the panel, put it in place. And you can see it there now. I'm going to put something there, because the piece is cut out of either that. I'm not going to get into filling that. I'll just put something there. But there's a bit of a gap here. And there's a bit of a gap there. But I don't mind that. I think if I had like some 1-inch foam, or like thick foam that I could stick on there, that'll just blacken it out. Like all this is bright now. This will be all black, I'd say. And up here, the same thing. You never know, I might make a cover for it that'll go over along here somehow. That'll just snap in place or something in there, and just cover over the top side of it. Or just might do the foam along there as well. Pick this here all. I'm thinking about all this here. We'll be going. This here's satin black by the looks of it. I thought the dash was grey, and this is grey too, but this is black. So maybe I'll do all this satin black. That's all I'll do with it. And then when you put a piece of black foam there, that'll be fine, right? Might texture this or something like that, and just paint the front section here black. That'll be fine. I was thinking about doing a gray, because the dash is gray, but this section here is black. So yeah, other side's the same thing. Come down around, and you got that little gap there. Rest of it looks dumb on. It's just right here. It's stuck off, but I think if I just put a bit of black foam right there, that'd be brand new, right? It's gonna be an old piece of black foam that just lays up against along there. That'll be best kind for that. But that looks way better than any other way. And you see the way it fits across the base of the dash. Across there now, that nice little rolled edge that I put on there. Just goes on across there. I'm pleased with that. So now I have everything inside the cab closed in. So inside the cab is done. All I got left to do now for closing everything in is I got to do this section here and down the other side, and then I got everything done. And I got to do something with that wiper motor there. We'll talk about that in the next video, because I'm going to do all this in the next video. I'm going to leave that pretty well to last. I've been thinking about a few ideas, and I've come up with some ideas I'm probably going to do with it. So yeah, yeah, so that's where we're going to leave this one. Got a lot done on this one here. We got, how many patches do we weld in this here now? Let's see. We got 1, 2, and then we got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 23 pieces welded inside the cab. All I got to do now is clean it all up. I'll seam seal it all up. And then I'll clean off the floors and everything, give it all a coat of paint. I want to try to get this done in here. Like, I'm going to fill this, get this done, filled and painted. Get this here done, filled and painted before I go put the dash and everything back in it. Because I would like to start putting it together. And I can do all this stuff here with everything put together on it. But I think if I can get it together, I can start running all the wiring and getting the dash back together, get a seat figured out, get the seat belt mounted in it. Something else I got to do. But yeah, there you go. One closed in inside the cab. That's deadly. Anyway, this we're going to leave this one. I hope the tips were good. And until next time.